I woke up one day and found myself entangled in my granddad's movie theater, which had unknown, scary stories inside Screen 6. This cinema that has been in our family for almost 100 years silently witnessed the whole horrifying past of generations. When my grandfather died and only left behind his theater as a legacy, I was burdened with the responsibility of fulfilling his last will, binding me to those unfathomable conditions he outlined. From all the things he told me, there was one that seemed very strange, and it read, "Screen 6 should never go silent." Like an oppressive clause in its perplexity, it hung over me like a ghost from not yet understood history. Being ignorant about this undercover 6 screen during my countless times within sacred walls of the theater I frequented is something that always surprises me. Through this letter from Grandpa himself that I opened when I took charge of the theater that made me understand how important Screen 6 really is and build anticipation around these mysteries. A mix of curiosity and a sense of duty drove me to dig deeper into our family's hidden film collections. I followed traces from Grandpa and outdated user manuals till my hands shook as I opened the locked digital confines of Screen 6. It was a horror loop titled Sacrifice Dom XF that marched before my eyes inside those dark chambers. Each time round, the screen opened up a gloomy picture show that featured an era already gone by, a ghastly dance for which figures were dressed in black and white as if they were performing their silent dark rite. Watching this ghostly parade, I realized that the footage captured unimaginable sacrifices made within the theater. It told a sad tale about its gruesome past. Horror and fascination got hold of me, rendering me caught in endless mysteries, with each frame revealing horrible realities that echo through generations. The need to know the truth drove me to find out about our theater's dark past. There was a lot of research done and questions asked, which eventually led me to the conclusion that my family's luck started way back in 1931. This information is recorded in local lore and has cast a deep fear on our cinema house, forever staining Screen 6 with innocent blood. Grandfather's note serves as a guide across the increasingly cloudy reality of things. He privately narrated the terrifying story of Mephistopheles' men, an ancient secret cult who left their ghostly presence inside this haunted realm. In those days, they were just doing it clandestinely, but now this theater had become a sort of malediction for all its visitors. My family's heritage, as heavy as the pieces of the puzzle fall into place. Screen 6, once a bastion of cinematic delight, has turned into a curse, a relic, a dead flickering movie telling us about the ills that lie buried within its soul. Nevertheless, out of this darkness emerged a glimmer of hope, a faint whispering from redemption that led me to an uncertain future. I swore in my conflicting knowledge and determination to face our theater's haunted halls, where shadows dwell in. Though dangerous lay ahead, I remembered my grandpa's love, which ignited hope in us during those dark days. But then again, as the film on Screen 6 walked its ever-terrifying terror dance before us, I stood still amid adversity, determined to pit up against the ghosts from past and start anew for generations unborn. For in the heart of darkness there is a flickering light, the silver screen which leads towards Salvan, with a chance to escape from our troubling past and pursue sin-free future we have not known before. I'm Eve, one of the survivors from a project known as Adam and Eve. This has not always been the case with me, because once upon a time, I was not defined by this scheme or its horrors. So let me lead you through my journey that brought me here in this place of shadows and uncertainty. 10 of us were there, 5 Adams and 5 Eves, all locked in a room without doors. Upon regaining consciousness, I reawoke as Eve, without any memory of other self. Others sprawled around, each lost within their own fragments like shards of broken mirrors. Time stood still only in that room. It would be marked only by faint echoes of previous lives, a ghostly voice inside my head. These memories flashed by like starlight at an immense distance from us, barely seized before they slid away into blackness. Still, the confusion was tinged with sadness, revealing our bereavements. As I looked around, I noticed traces of our past selves and what we left behind. A basement lit up with little lights, shelves covered with unreadable books, and scattered prescriptions that hinted at forgotten illnesses. However, these pieces of who we were only deepened the mystery of us. Bound to another soul through the iron ring which held us together, I met Adam, a boy playing the same fateful game as me. We traveled along the glass walls of our captivity where each reflection was distorted, a skewed mirror showing who we really are. But something inside me still burned with curiosity amidst all this confusion, and desire to uncover enigma about our past shared by us. Through my digging and prodding into scars and stains on our skin that was marked by life's journeys, I wanted to find out more about where it had been. Nevertheless, new truths emerged over time, that our prior beings were merely phantoms wandering in the maze of our shattered minds. That space is filled with silence and a new meaning is conceived from it. An outcome made common by joint trials lies within reach. This was when authority spoke, silently bringing light amidst turmoil. For instance, in the silence of such voices, save for one hope which suggested possibility for a different existence. And so with whispered consent, we embraced what lay ahead, ready to create future out of those fragments called past. Yet, as the light broke through and showed us the way out, a different narrative unfolded. Our new start seemed tainted by remnants of our old civilization like poison, a realization we made when it was too late. When blood stained the clean walls of my prison cell, I had to decide if I wanted to stick to my past or look forward to a better future. Survival in the final analysis necessitated sacrifices. Thus, we killed our old selves for a fresh beginning. However, there was still a shadow in our thoughts that told us how much it cost us to be liberated. As we walked into this new world blinded with light, I felt fear run through me just as I had always sensed danger ahead since time immemorial. However, humanity's normal sights and sounds enveloped us once more, and at that point I thought that none of these were real, because such an unbelievable feeling engulfed me, threatening to drown me with uncertainty. The reality struck home not in shadows, but in broad daylight. Also accepting the fact that we were now freed came with many challenges, and the biggest one lay ahead, reclaiming our humanity in a world where our ancestors' sins could not just be forgotten about easily. So, it is as I am sitting here now that I realize my journey is not yet over. That is, even if I'm being haunted by my past at the same time as tackling the demons of my past. There is a constant reminder of how delicate the balance between light and darkness can be. However, amid all this confusion and uncertainty, one thing stands out. Eve is my name, survivor of Adam and Eve Project, and never will I be defined by what was before me, because through our mutual struggles and adversity, something in me has been forged, and a new strength has come into me. And therefore, when staring into dark abyss today, it is with a sense of direction found only recently that would enable me to face any challenge ahead. After all, who we are today instead of where we have been defines us. But our choices choose to take up the light while shadows are drawing near to engulf me. Here I'm sitting and suddenly I feel a wave of panic engulfing me. It's 3:17 a.m. on the clock and lo and behold, my wife is outside there. My hands are shaking while I try to remember what had happened and put together this strange puzzle before me at this point. Years ago in another house, something similar happened. Awoken by mysterious noises coming from the deep parts of the house, I cautiously advanced with my heart pounding gently in fear. Through darkness of night, a faint light could be seen blinking out from my wife's study next to the kitchen. Instantaneously, my mind jumped to dire conclusions. Our home was based dangerously close to a notorious locality, and thus I first thought that it was a break-in case, sneaking along silent hallways, readying myself to face an intruder only for my bride engrossed in her bedtime browsing to greet me instead. Narrowly escaped because I recognized her vague sight amidst the dark depth. She now lives in our current house, which has a screen door and a strong wooden gate with a very strong bolt. A few minutes ago, the silence of the night was shattered by the noise of our front door being struck violently. In response to this, I went straight into action by trying to use my phone to see what was happening outside through the security cameras situated around the house. And there she stood, my wife, outside, looking almost like a ghost with that bright light over her head. She had on what she wore earlier, a bright red blouse standing out against the darkened night sky, unmistakably her though. However, when I turned around to wake up my sleeping wife, an unsettling thought entered my mind. She was still lying beside me, sound asleep alongside a strange likeness poised at our entrance. I left because something told me that it is not really her standing near our door, and it made my heart beat hard again with fear. "Who's there?" I screamed in shaky voice. Though sounding familiar, his voice did nothing to take away from the growing sense of uneasiness within me. My wife's voice begging to be let in through words fraught with worry and haste rang out as if addressing us through all space and time. But still a doubt remained as I sat watching this strange sight come alive before my eyes. Back to our room, I ran back and woke up my wife so that she could see a ghost that had invaded our sleep. Together we stood watching this eerie sight of that man outside who was mimicking the moves made by my wife as if tuning into it for an explanation. In an effort to demystify the puzzle, we bombarded ourselves with questions carefully designed to leave nothing untouched by doubt, only to add further confusion to the matter. Meanwhile, during the unending night, we continued with our watching by means of those motionless cameras that never blink. However minutes seemed like hours as uncertainty gave way to a chilling sensation of foreboding. Would this specter infiltrate my home knowing every detail about my wife's life? Our vigilance remained steadfastly aimed at the uncertain future, and we waited for morning filled with fear. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spooky content from the deep hearts of Reddit. Let us see each other next time, but in a different, scary way.